Good morning, everyone. It's a Saturday morning. I, I remember we used to have full day classes on Saturdays also. I don't know what is the position now, but I think all of us are in a sort of relaxed mode, and that's what I would like you to be in to uh, have this next 1 hour or so with me. So feel relaxed, participate as much as you can, interrupt my talk whenever you feel like. Just raise your hand, and we will have the session going that way. Is that okay? Yes. Okay. So the topic that has been told is the career options for to be graduates. So most of you are in the third year, final year, second year, okay, and postgraduate students also there. So are you thinking about what to be after graduation or what to be after post graduation? You have started something thinking. Maybe some of you must have thought of it when joining this program here. At least I could tell about me that before uh, I took my first day classes in LIT, I was told that you are going to be a chemical engineering graduate from this institute, and after passing out you will be most likely working in this field. But everybody may not get what he wants to be, so you have got options, and those options evolve during these 4 years or the post graduation 2 years that we spend at the institute. And in recent times another option has come up, which that is what I want to talk more about, is that business incubation. That means instead of looking for a job, looking for a place in some organization or institution, can I create that opportunity to others? How you find it? Anybody here thought about this option? Okay. I'm sure by the time I end my talk, some hands will be raised. So what is incubation? You heard this word, I'm sure. Have you? Yes. There is an incubation center on the campus. Maybe that could be one reason for you to have heard this. But otherwise, when a child is born, many times nowadays the deliveries do happen, the births do happen in the hospitals. The child is kept in a very controlled environment box. That is called incubator. A similar controlled environment is felt to be provided when we think of starting a new business activity. And that concept has come about 25 years in India, that a new business should not be just started based on some other parameters, the traditional considerations. My father used to have this business and I would like to continue his business, all those things. But let me do something of my own in the area of my choice. So that new concept has evolved, and that's how the term business incubation has come. So the incubator is an environment that is provided to those who are interested in taking advantage of and pursuing the goal that you decide or that you set for yourself. So what are the requirements of an incubator? When you approach an incubator, what is that it should provide you? Rather, what is that you want from the incubator? So, as I said, we want to start a new business. So there is a thought as chemical engineers or would-be chemical engineers. You would think that if I want to start an industry in chemical field, this would be the product I would like to develop or create, right? So you will have some knowledge about what is happening for that product now all over. Whether that product is manufactured, it need not be only product. What I'm using the word product because it applies to even services. And chemical industry also is not away from that. That chemical industry also, there are many service activities that are required to be provided to core chemical industry. So, as a incubatee, the person who is or a group of people who are interested in starting a new business, I must have a clear thought that what is that I want to create or develop. That is the first thing and most important thing required. If you do not have that, no point in going further. Okay. Now, the next point that obviously the incubator, the management of the incubator, even that applies to the one we have on the campus, is that the proposal, the thought that this person has come up with, does it have a potential? Will it lead to a sustainable product or service? And for that, you are a relatively new person or a relatively new group of persons. So for you, you may not have the foresight of whether it has potential to grow as an industry. So all those considerations are put up to what we call an expert committee. So these are the people across industry, even other than the industry, some could be very layman to the chemical field, but still their thoughts are clear. Their vision is very sure that this idea will work. Nowadays, at least for last 3-4 years, we have been seeing many global companies, and they are sort of, I would say, ruling our lives. And these companies also started this way. They also started with some thought somewhere, and then that thought was taken up, processed, nurtured, and finally led to start the activity, and then they have grown up multiple times now. And that process continues. Today, companies like Microsoft, Google, Amazon, there are very few names, but if you read, you will know that the history of these companies also was similar to like one person or few persons thought of doing this activity and they took up that.
So a common word that comes up when you think of making your business viable in the opinion of these experts. So what is that? So the word is entrepreneur. It's difficult to pronounce, but it's a word if you understand what it means. I think half the battle you have won. Entrepreneur is a person who has got this vision or who has got this direction of thinking which will lead the business to success. And they always say, you must have heard it many times in talks earlier, that when you take the risk of doing business, the word is risk is there. So what is that risk? That risk means the possibilities of failure. So are you in a mindset to accept the failure if it comes in your way? That is one very important characteristic that is required to be an entrepreneur. So you have to test yourself. You may not have it to the extent required. After, say, your launch, your thought, you process it, you have gathered some ground so that you can launch the product or process or service. But there is a spark at the beginning itself. Yes, I want to do it and I will succeed in doing it. If you think you have got that spark, or if others close to you notice that, yes, this person has got that spark, then that is another sign for you to think of going in this way, start to be an entrepreneur. You must have definitely thought of that. What are the other options that are available to me after graduation, after post-graduation? After graduation, many of you might think that I'm good at studies, so let me go for post-graduation. But as a postgraduate, you might also think of that I could do research in particular area. What you have seen traditionally, that as I told earlier, that if my father was having some business and he was relatively good at it, then I'll be also good at it. So let me support him initially and then take over from him subsequently. Entrepreneur is always ready to take risk. And many of us, though have small or larger sparks within us that I want to do something on my own, do not take that step and then look for a job after some higher studies and lead a comfortable life. So I use the word comfortable life. Initial years, at least, when you start on the activity of being an entrepreneur, you will have to forget about this word, comfortable. Whatever you do gives you immense joy, but not comfort. You will enjoy doing it. So it's not always that when you are comfortable, you enjoy. Oh. Okay. So one such entrepreneur who was a 1953 gold medalist from this institute BTech course, Mr. Taskar, he I don't know which place he belonged originally, but he went to Mumbai, MIDC, and he met another gentleman, Mr. Pandharipande. Mr. Pandharipande was quite senior. He was in fact director of that time what used to be called MSSIDC. That means if you want to think of an industry, this is the government authority who can allot you land on. So Mr. Taskar approached Mr. Pandharipande and said that I want to do something and not a conventional job. Mr. Pandharipande suggested him that it is within my authority to allocate you certain area of land in MIDC and you start your own industry on it. As I told earlier, Mr. Taskar was a gold medalist of that batch, so obviously his credentials were very, very high with Mr. Pandharipande also. So he got that land allocated to him. He started his industry, a chemical industry. I don't know specifically which product, but his entire career he pursued his goals, achieved targets, whatever he set for himself, and just took a date as his date of retirement from that activity. And immediately after retirement, he sold his industry for a good price. And whatever money he got, this I'm telling 2003. In 2003, he donated rupees 1 lakh to the association that I am representing today. There is a LIT Nagpur Alumni Association in Mumbai, the oldest alumni association, and the money was received by this association. And the money was given by Mr. Taskar, stating that this money will be used to sponsor one lecture in a year at LIT to inspire the young minds. So prior to this, there were 5 such lectures. It started in 2012. The first lecture was delivered here. And the last one was in 2019. Sorry. After 2019, obvious reasons, pandemic and other constraints, this is the 6th lecture that is happening. So now you clearly understand, besides the subject that you have got on the topic that I am speaking on, what is my intention of coming here and talking to you. Okay. So we were talking about the environment that is provided by incubators, the people, the experts, those who guide to the budding entrepreneurs, and what else? The most important, and for every activity we require it. What is that? Anybody? Funding, money. Without money, nothing happens. Then who will give you funding if they do not see a potential in your activity to grow? The funding person, usually called venture capitalist, he sees the potential in this business activity to grow and give him sufficient returns. The entrepreneur will get if he succeeds, but the VC also gets sufficient returns. And there are a number of cases like that. So the VC is there, is waiting for entrepreneurs, budding entrepreneurs to come and approach him, ask him money, and on his terms, take the money, use it, and grow it. So he grows. So these are the things required to start on as an incubator. So once you got all these things, it's only you have to take further, and that I will dwell upon sometime. That funding, technology, and management or administrative skills. I consider these are the three areas very vital to start any business activity. So typically, if you want on day one, if you want that your activity must or has a very good chance of success, you must have these three sort of contributors to your activity. So minimum 3 people. But I have seen my experience. I worked in IIT Bombay for 22 years, and of which 4 years I spent on development of this activity in the institute. During those 4 years, I have seen groups with 2 persons successfully, after a period of about 2 years, coming out with a product or service and getting fantastic valuation of that company, and today they are successful businessmen. Only 2 persons started it. For 2 years, there were only 2 persons. On the other side, there was another group which was having, initially there were 8 people, and then it grew to 15 persons. And these 15 persons then had various issues, like when you say no, 2 becomes 3, then what happens? It's all chaos, or it's all like different opinions, clashes, and all that. Usually, as long as you are 2, either you say something, I say it is right, or you say something that I say right, all that way. Means usually there is a good understanding when you are 2. Beyond 3, it is a crowd. And what happens in a crowd? Difficult to manage. But this group successfully, I'm telling only stories about the successful groups, and I'm just sharing these numbers because you need not get sort of constrained that we are only 3 people, we have this acumen for finance, technology, and management in each of us. But should we go further, will we succeed? So it's a very typical that the number of what we call the owners or founders is only a number. And typically, the type of idea that you want to develop, the product or service that you want to enhance might require more people and might require different skills. So you require as many as 15 people to start that. And this I'm telling the starting. When the company got established, I don't know the numbers, but they got very good valuation, that much I know. The criteria as I told, the environment that you have to create for yourself. Now, sustaining that. How to say that it sustains? On sustenance, the immediate thought I get is that, again, traditionally somebody elderly in my family was doing some business and was doing good, but it was not growing as much as I would have liked it to. Then I join in, thinking that I will contribute and let it grow further. For 1-2 years, I don't see much impact. Then what happens? I lose interest, or at least my interest get diminished. It is very obvious. And that is exactly where this word that I coined, entrepreneur, he has that sustenance. He knows that someday I will succeed. He sees success in failure. You must have heard it or read it. Sorry. Many places. गलती उन्नति की सीढ़ी होती है. That is exactly applies to entrepreneurs. Many successful businessmen tell, I heard at least many times, that I continue with an activity. I'm passionate, I'm sort of devoted, committed that this activity will succeed. Normal period, as they give when you join as an incubatee in incubators like this, they will give you 24 months time from the day you come here and start your activity. So many of the activities do not see the end result. That is, when you leave the incubator, you should be at some position. So obviously, they lose heart. They start thinking some other ideas. No, we should do something else. That's a big deterrent for business incubation. As an incubator, the management of the incubator will always think that as many incubators come here, they must leave this place as a successful incubator. But it does not happen always. And it's perfectly fine. So you should be prepared for that also. Now, this is about the scenario that I tried to create as to what are the options that you have. Service option as a regular job option, I have not dwelt much upon because times have changed. Now graduates really do not look for that I want to do only some engineering or a specialization in engineering and then continue with that. Nowadays we see, and even the sites that many sites are there where the job listed jobs are there. Even Government of India has listed many jobs. So we see that list is horizontally growing like anything. So you do not think, that is what the change I was talking about, that you think that plenty of options are available for you to select from those jobs which are available. But if you have this spark, which I mentioned earlier, think of it very seriously. And the earlier you think, as it is always, the earlier you start, the larger you can grow. Okay. Now, you are very fortunate that at the premises where you are, there is a facility created, and which, if you have not seen till date, please have a look. Not only the physical look, but the theme behind it, and see that what is available to you as a stepping platform. We dreamt, I passed out in 1977. We dreamt of getting placed in a good company. There was no placement officer or there was no placement department. We had to struggle for the 2 months of vacation period at various industries at their gates and see if we can get some experience. I think today you definitely have to do the internships or vocational training and all that, but you don't have that level of struggle now, in my opinion. Similarly, if you are thinking of doing something of your own, creating jobs instead of joining in some organization as an employee, then this is the best facility available for you. And it is in a chemical engineering field, so which is the rarest of the rare things. Even the incubators that I was associated with from 2000 to 2004 were mostly in the area of information technology, because that was the area budding at that time. You can imagine what technology has made changes during that period and even now. But for chemical industry, if you want to create your own image, your own position, I think you must consider this as the golden opportunity. Another thing that I want to tell here, it is not that you come to final year or the last semester and start thinking about it. That is why I was requesting the LIT management that please allow students, fourth year, third year, I'm happy there are second year students also, to get this, that if you have this spark in you and you notice it in the second year of your academics career, second year of your course you are pursuing, start thinking inspiration to go faster. Okay. Now, as a chemical industry incubator, the steps might be different. But as I told, the goal is same. I want to create something of my own, and for that I will be an employer, not an employee. And I don't know how many will get benefited. Initially, it could be a small number, 10, 15, 20, but it could go in thousands. So that sort of potential is there in this activity. And what is that you get out of it? Money is, of course, one thing. Utmost satisfaction. Look at any successful businessman, and you will know that you will not see him demoralized, sad. Rarely. Otherwise, you will not see. That inspiration, that motivation is so much with them. Now, the one case, two case studies that I mentioned, the one that I mentioned about the two persons coming and joining and starting in successful incubating, both were second year BTech students. Okay. The other group, the 15 persons, they were mixed, and some postgraduate students, graduates, and some final year students. There were, I'm telling this case of 2000, year 2000. In the year 2000, there was a very high reluctance from the academic side, the faculty, even the management, that these people, if they are working for their own company, right, when they are in the second year, they will overlook their academic performance. It was debated quite a bit, but finally it was found that these two groups, they were observed also, and it was found that their performance, their individual performance was better than the earlier performance after they started this activity. And that is how then it was encouraged that we should allow students also to come and join this activity. Of course, the underlying statement was always there that academic performance, academic activity must be on the top priority of these individuals without fail. And it was a challenge for these young entrepreneurs that they must perform at least as good as they were performing before, after they were accepted as a that. So a common theorem can be evolved that if I like some activity and I like it from my heart, I have no other reason to believe that I will only excel in that. Agreed? You will only excel in the activity that you are passionate about. And that is what is to be caught by yourself. So I think more or less I have told what I wanted to say, but I want a lot of interaction on this. You must have got many questions. So I would be happy to take those.
What is it? Can I ask a question?
Sure. Welcome, sir.
Lecture, very informative. Students should know all these things. We were not lucky to know all those things when I passed my BTech in 1968. Our main aim was to somehow pass and get out of that place. Because chemicals are to be manufactured or they can be incorporated in any other product, as you said. So basically, you are testing all these things in incubation center in an economically viable way. My question is, this
Yes, sir.
This is about 25 years or more than that old in India, right? Now the new of IT, electronics, energy are changing, and many new ideas are coming up. Electric vehicle, for instance. So all these require totally different mindset and the test facilities at the incubation center. Are there any efforts along that line so that we prepare the incubation centers for the future? Because the students will come out after 5 years, maybe after some number of years. I mean, I don't want to put that number as 3 or 4 or 5, because nobody may be using the incubation center immediately after passing out. As we were told earlier, that at least take 1 or 2 years experience in chemical industry, learn the industry, understand the outside world, and then you jump into this if you are not a first generation entrepreneur. So, are there any new efforts either here or abroad which will take care of these new changes that may take place?
Yes. So I will just repeat your question for the benefit of audience because there was low voice. So I'll just repeat it and then answer your question.
Yeah. Okay. Please.
Okay. So Professor D.D. Kai is also alumnus, very senior, and he held many positions. Some of you might be knowing in UICT, and now he is Vice Chancellor of University in Vapi. So his question is that as an incubator, whichever area, whichever field, he mentioned some areas, say autos or electricals or other industries. So are the incubators, the facilitators, are they equipped to guide? Are they sort of a step ahead of the incubators which are coming to them so that they can guide, and then the uh, the incubators also get a feel that yes, they will success. Am I right, sir?
Right. I mean, particularly the fields like energy harnessing, hydrogen energy, what we are now talking about, hydrogen cells, or electronics, new electronics, smart
some of the
gadgets.
Some of the areas that he rightly added was hydrogen, energy, electronics, and now, of course, in information technology, a lot of inputs are coming from information technology to chemical industry.
Yes.
So these are some of the areas. In these particular areas, how the incubators are prepared to provide guidance, to provide facilities, so that the incubators will get attracted, they come and start this activity here. Okay, so my answer, what I perceive is that there are some incubators, like one that I came across when I was preparing for this presentation is with BASF.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. The name of it is that particular activity is Chem Water.
Yeah.
It is also available on internet. So you name the area. This was particularly BASF is a chemical
for specialty
and pharma.
Yes.
Yeah. So they are specialty chemicals. So this company has sort of given an open challenge that you have some idea. Then we have got an expert who is already there, because they are already continuing that activity in BASF in their manufacturing or in their services to other manufacturers. So they are already ahead of the industry there, and they are asking, they are inviting these budding entrepreneurs to come and submit their details. There is a standard format, which is also very
Yes.
transparent mechanism they have devised.
Absolutely.
So that is one case that I have come across. Of course, our own Niti Aayog, I'm sharing with all here. Government of India is really providing a very positive, healthy environment for you to think of going for your own industry. So the Niti Aayog website, if you go, you will find, again, you might find initially that, oh, such a long form, so many details are required and all that. That again, so if you find that this form is too lengthy, it is asking so many details, and you stop somewhere in between, please don't. That is the first test. That if you complete that form, fulfill their requirement, once they take you in, then you are through. So this Niti Aayog website I saw in December 23.
Right.
Okay, so it is quite recent. So I don't know the response to that, but I'm saying for this particular government supported incubators,
Right.
this is a very good platform available.
Very good. I'm really glad to hear this because I was trying to see these things. SIBA had earlier thought about it. They were trying to take the pioneer, but they either have but don't declare, or they don't have, because you never know.
There are many leading chemical industries. Their own in-house incubators are there. Their own employees, they separate out a group, support them their salary or incentive, and ask them to do this cutting-edge research.
Why I mentioned about BSF, I was happy that you mentioned about BSF, because they are the ones who are taking pioneering action in chemical recycling of plastic waste as well as municipal waste, and they don't disclose anything. And if LIT wants to do this, I am prepared to give whatever help I can. And many of us will be happy to be associated. That was just the thing that I wanted to share, basically.
You are sure. Thank you so much, sir. So Professor Kale has offered, as I told you, more about him you can get in media also. But Professor Kale is one person who is sort of an authority in plastics. And the current university that he is heading is also a plastic industry academy. So he has offered that he is ready to offer whatever services are required if anybody is interested in doing in that area something.
Particularly,
as we are on the common platform, we agreed that BASF is one company which is doing cutting edge research in most of the chemical areas. Okay. Getting in would be tough. Yeah.
Particularly chemical recycling of plastic waste as well as the municipal waste. Which
so it could be a recycling of plastic waste, which of course municipalities generate a lot of it, and it is a nuisance. And he has dealt it in his post-retired career. I know so much. He was with a consultant with Reliance also for a long time. So those kinds of people also will come forward and support you. Only you should voice that you need, and you should show that you really mean it. You need that support. Okay.
And we can
yes, sir.
that kind of a funds if necessary to establish the facilities at LIT Incubation Center.
Yes. Yes, sir. Thank you so much. So, Professor Kare is also jewel of LIT, for your information. So, there's a people, this talk he didn't know, probably that I'll be delivering here on this. He might have read my title of my talk and all this. But now I got one super expert for you. If you are thinking of single-use plastic, something can be done, what it can be and all this. So here is one venture capitalist available to you. Not in the sense of funding, sir, but the technology part, yes.
whatever is needed.
Sure.
But I think all of us should work together for this.
Sure.
I'm one of the persons who thinks like that, but not that we got all the solutions. But we need to have, because somebody would like the facility how to chemical recycle. Chemical recycling of their. So there should be facilities set up at our incubation center, and that's where person who comes in, who has vast experience. How to do it, what to do, people will know, but how to do it is more important. That is where you come into picture.
Yes, sir. Here I see most of the attendees are students. Are there some people who are like already incubatees or who are already in the business? Okay, so maybe, but this could be an initial step. So we try to get people. I was hoping if there are some new incubators accepted in our incubator, they would join. But if they don't join also, we are always available to support them, as Professor Kali just now mentioned, and you mean it.
Sir, when we think about startup and
can you just name yourself? Because
sir, myself Pratham Khilkar, and I'm from final year.
It goes on record. That is why. Okay.
Sir, I have very two specific questions. The first question is regarding recession. As we know that in the world called globalization, we are seeing that many countries are suffering with inflation as well as recession. So when we think of our country and when we think of unicorns, and we find that there were many 105 unicorns in 2022, but now we see that the companies like Baiju's, and then we see that the companies which were unicorn there, and now they are like suffering with recession.
Yes.
So when we start thinking of like entrepreneurship, the one thing we always think of recession and the risk. But in the world of all these kind of things, what is that term called calculated risk for us?
So, for the benefit of others who are joined this meeting, the question is on inflation and recession. These are the worries for say incubators or entrepreneurs? Am I right? Okay. So, as I said, if you are an entrepreneur, people should not see you sad anytime. You might, and you are human, so you will be sad many times. But people should not pursue you to be sad. I'm not saying you hide your feelings, but you must always have a solution, a way forward available, whatever be the situation. So recession, we have seen, and those who study economics might know that recession is a cyclic process. And over a period of, say, 7-8 years, there is a cycle. From my whatever knowledge I have about this. So we are prepared. Those economies which are in recession or are going to be in recession, they are talking for months about the recession. USA, for example, is still not in recession, but they prepared so well. Rather, next 3 to 6 months, they are confident today, they will be out of that fear of recession. They have never gone in recession, but they are out of fear of recession. The interest rate is a measure of recession in economies. So interest rate, which was increased to match with the inflation, will be coming down from next 3 to 6 months. That's what the experts are telling. Okay, so be it any situation, be it any feeling about that, what will happen to me. It was known to the world that every 100 years there is a pandemic. We all know it. So it was known to the world. Many writers had written about it that 2019 is a very crucial year because 1919 was it. You know about that. So 50 lakhs plus people died that. So this time the measures that were taken, like cutting down every activity, cutting down movements of people, airlines, transport system, isolation of people. All these were done for what? It was a huge loss to the world economy. But was done for what? Because that pandemic could be brought in control in a period of 2 years. And I'm sure another 100 years, if there is any, of course, none of us would be there at that time, but if there is a situation, the world would be prepared much better. The pandemic of 2019-20 is debated even now. What could have been done better? But all that led to what? See, take the case of India. Take the case of Indian economy today. You must be reading everywhere, seeing everywhere that India is the fastest growing economy in the developing world. How that would be possible when we suffered for 2 years, more than 2 years? I just want to add about the activity that we are doing in Mumbai, from Mumbai. So, we fairly senior graduates from LIT in 1998, in fact, we started an association, a registered trust of alumni. And in that we said we must do something for our alma mater, this institute. Our former director, Dr. G.D. Nageshwar, was the first president of that. He was that time in Thane. And it started from there. But it was like once in a year, we are meeting some place, having some chat, some food, some entertainment. No specific agenda. From 2019, December, we started reaching out to LITians by way of a e-magazine. So every quarter of a year, that is March, June, September, and December, the last Sunday at 11 o'clock, there is a talk delivered by an expert, which we arrange as an association. And that talk is, just like now this is happening, is zoomed all over, is transmitted all over. So it is also a record created and also available to for interaction like this. So we have been doing it from 2019, and this is the volume, 5th volume that I was just mentioning, Professor, that we have just published after our global alumni meet this year, the last 17th edition of Stamba. The name given is Stamba, pillar. So I'm going to leave the soft copies of that for you to see whenever possible. If the facility is available in the library, it could be made available to all, or it could be shared with anyone. So that is one we are doing, and in that process, we found out that there is a lot to be done for our alma mater. And one of the reasons for me to be here is that. Thank you.
Most of us belong from a middle class family background. So whenever we decide about, even if we think about being a businessman or an entrepreneur, or if I decide that tomorrow I am going to launch a product, take up like a biscuit, I'm going to launch a biscuit product. So who's going to trust me? He's a newcomer. He does not have a background, a good background, or a what do you say? Or any
okay. You don't have a name in the market.
industry, right?
Yeah.
So the people who are eating from today, that like products like Parle-G or biscuits, who's going to trust me? So after building that trust, I may face some downfalls.
Yeah.
How should we think?
Okay. So for the benefit of those who joined online, those who are connected online, the question is that normally when I graduate, and my background in my family is that we don't have sufficient income to start a business. Low middle class income group, but I have a strong desire to make some product. The example that was given, say biscuit. I want to make a biscuit, but what is the relation of that biscuit product with your income? The one that you want to make, what is the relation of that with your family income, your income, or the income of Parle? There is no relation. I'm saying your biscuit that you are going to create will be selling in the market. That is exact, that support is available to you through such places. Your biscuit should be a unique one. What way it will be unique, you will know. I'm not a food technologist to give some suggestions, but you will find a way by which your product will be accepted in the market in competition with Parle's. That you have to find out what is that. It does not require money necessarily. You are not going to start thousands of tons of biscuits a day from day one. There are many products. I'm sure you know. You are in Nagpur, and I'm sure you know that there are many products that you like. Oh, Haldiram, nothing like that. What is the beginning of Haldiram? I have seen his beginning because I was in Nagpur that. He was the most competitive uh, provider of ghee and namkeen. If you get by chance to buy Haldiram ghee, you have to close your eyes and you can say it is the cheapest and the best. Find something like that for your product. That is what is required. You have to be competitive, no doubt. But what will make you competitive, you have to discover for yourself. Aditya, you have a question?
No, I want to share some experience which I have done with myself.
थोड़ा आवाज आपकी ना, आपकी आवाज इतनी क्लियर सबको नहीं जा रही यहाँ पर, फिर भी आप बोलिए, वो रिकॉर्ड हो रहा है.
I have worked as a venture capitalist.
Yes.
In my career from year
Just
2004.
एक minute. I'm talking with Shri Aditya Saxena, 1971 BTech from LIT, and he considerable part of his career he spent as entrepreneur, as a expert, and he also acted as a venture capitalist. So he wants to say, fully.
I have done venture capitalist for a automobile industry people, automobile field.
Okay.
There were two young men. They were knowing what to do, but they were not knowing how to do it fund-wise. They had no money. So by chance, I happened to meet them. So I met them, and after going through their details and my analysis, I offered them, I will give you necessary funds. Will you accept my proposal? And we had meetings, and they accepted it. I offered them 15 lakh rupees of my own.
Okay, I just want to share.
Without knowing those people, on the basic trust, I trust you and you trust me.
Yeah.
And that worked. That worked.
Yeah. So
and we were.
I got you. So I'll just share with the audience here. Okay. So he acted as a venture capitalist also, and he sort of blindly offered 15 lakhs support to two people. How could you do that? So you need to have trust. Trust is the basic minimum requirement for any activity to go further, any relationship to grow further. We in a family, we have some trust built in. My father says something, I close my eyes, my ears, and just do whatever he says. Is it not? How that comes? It's trust. So here is one venture capitalist available for support whichever required, particularly in chemical industries. Thank you, Aditya ji.
Thank you.
There is one question from here. I don't know whether it is audible there. All right.
Dental retired from LIT. My background is electrical engineering, and I don't think there is any connection with chemical engineering of LIT. But one common area of interest both of us would be batteries and your problem. It's part of use wise is electrical and internally is all chemical. So my question is why we limit ourselves to biscuits and other products? Why not we think of rather international competitions like cells and batteries?
Thank you. I got your question. The question was like, he's electrical engineer. He's thinking of products in electrical field. Now, this incubator here is established in an institution which is a chemical institution. So, the product obviously came from one of the students. He thought of biscuits. So, could there be products from other specimens? So obviously, yes. See, we are sitting in this hall. How many engineering areas are covered here? Can we say it is having something to do with chemical, something to do with electrical, something to do with air conditioning, electronics? No. So the 50 plus incubators that I know of developed in institutions. So the government somehow named these incubatees as academic incubatees. I somehow disagree with that term. Because it is created or developed in an academic institution, they are calling it as academic incubatee. No. There are chemical engineers here, but they could have some idea in, like, say, I would say food is of course part. Like battery, as you mentioned, battery involves chemicals, right? So there could be innovation on that. So it need not be a product which is a fuel cell. So fuel cell is very much connected with the students here. Okay, so yeah, your question. Okay, so I really thank Dr. Rajamankar, who is attending this meeting throughout, to have accepted our proposal to have a talk like this here and supported us from the beginning till I think I have delivered the talk, and also LIT management, particularly Professor Banavse. He has been very personally helping me see that all my stay, my movement, all is taken care well. I thank you all those who have attended this talk here. I think you are a shared better place than those who probably joined on Zoom. But nonetheless, all those who missed some part of it, if you found it valuable, will be available through our e-magazine, Stamba. So please develop a habit of looking at Stamba at least once in future.
Yeah.
So I think you can conclude this now because I have covered whatever I have to say. I have answered a few questions. So if you please conclude whatever.
Yeah.
I see Gyanji also attending. Thank you, Gyanji.
So I request Gyanji to conclude the session.
Okay, thank you. Arvind Patil, you have delivered a very nice talk there for the students of the LIT. I am very happy that you have spoken and given them very good ideas and how to come up in their life.
Okay.
Of course,
Thank
I
you.
am not that much interested now because across that age, I'm nearly 80.
You are the pioneer entrepreneur, sir.
Yeah,
1967 batch
I did.
BTech, and entire career he was industrialist. of course,
Yeah,
retired.
5 months having
Gyanji,
pulverizing, ferrolyzer, etc.
yeah, yeah,
Making welding success and all that.
yes.
So now,
Your half-page advertisement is there in the issue.
pardon me? Yeah, yeah.
Acha, Avinash, I have one question here from a student here. I'll take that and then hand over
Yeah,
back to you.
sure, sure. Noise.
Government funds or costs.
You have to go to that Niti Aayog site. I got that here if you are interested. I cannot project it here, but I mean, I got the BASF site also. First thing is your inclination to be a incubatee. Then these questions are relevant. As the information you want, it's always available on internet. Thank you. Avinash, over to you.
One more thing. Today's Zoom link is provided by Mr. Srinivas Vidula from Delhi. And I thank you all and conclude the session. Please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.